nga characteristics or features during drug receptor interaction or upon that ligand interacting to a receptor are the following. We have affinity, which is specifically yung ability ng ligand to bind to a receptor, and of course, lahat ng mga drugs, especially those drugs that acts on a receptor or considered to be receptor targeting drugs, of course, they will always have that affinity. Okay, kung wala silang affinity, wala silang ability to bind to that receptor, no reaction talaga na mangyayari. Useless yung magiging mechanism of action ng drug na yan. Kasi hindi siya nakakabit sa receptor. So affinity is one of the most important feature ng ligand during drug receptor interaction. The second one is intrinsic activity. Yung intrinsic activity naman, ito yung ability naman to activate. So please take note ha, activate or stimulate the receptor. Now, because of this feature ng isang ligand, because of this intrinsic activity, nagkaroon tayo ng dalawang classification ng ligands. Okay? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng ligands or in general drugs may ability to stimulate a particular receptor. So natay duha ka classification of ligands, particularly we have the agonist, tsaka the other one is antagonist. So between the two, it would be the agonist yung may ability to activate. Kasi equivalent ng term, synonymous term for agonist are the following. Pwedeng activators, stimulators. Okay, pag antagonist talaga, zero. No? Wala siyang receptor activity. As in zero intrinsic activity. So recall again that under agonist, we have three types, the full, partial, and inverse agonist. So dinifferentiate natin sila based on the hypothetical quantal unit na binigay ko, and that is intrinsic activity between 0 to 1. Nalala? So as if 1 would be the highest quantal unit for the intrinsic activity. So full agonist kapag may 1 intrinsic activity value. Partial agonist, syempre partial, so hindi niya abot yung capacity ni full agonist. So lower than 1, pero hindi din 0. Kasi may partial man, meron man siyang somehow pharmacologic effect. Hindi lang katulad kay full agonist. So above 0, less than 1 yung intrinsic activity niya. And please, pakitake note ha, yung partial agonist, it will act as either agonist or antagonist, depende sa sitwasyon. Say for example, pag walang full agonist, okay, example, partial agonist lang talaga, siya lang solo, okay, may absence of full. Okay, absence of full agonist. So in that case, si partial agonist will act as a weak agonist. Okay? So weak agonist lang siya, hindi pwedeng full agonist kasi nga partial agonist siya. If absent yung full agonist. Okay, isang klase ng drug na full agonist. Pero pag may presence na ng full agonist, that's the time makikipag-compete. No, magiging competitive. Familiar kayong term na nadaghan kayo ko student ka competitive. Okay? So magiging competitive si partial agonist. Okay? Kapag again ha, may presence ng full agonist. That's the time magiging instead ng weak agonist siya, it now becomes a competitive antagonist. Okay? So yan. So please take note of the activity or property ng isang partial agonist. Absence ng full agonist, isa siyang weak agonist. Presence of a full agonist, that's the time it will act as antagonist. Particularly, isang competitive one nga antagonist. Kasi makikipag-compete niya, tatalunin talaga niya si full agonist. Kaya nga yung example ko last meeting, di ba? You have a morphine, a full agonist, then a nalbuphine partial agonist. So may presence ngayon ng full agonist. So yung gagawin ni nalbuphine, makikipag-compete siya with morphine. Okay, tatalunin niya talaga yung activity, full activity ni morphine. Instead nga may analgesic effect, baba ngayon yung analgesia. Kasi nga, panalo yung nalbuphine. Competitive kasi siya. Okay? Next, yung inverse agonist naman, when it comes to its intrinsic activity, baba, lower than 0. Okay? So, intrinsic activity is equivalent to less than 0. Hindi 0. Okay? Less than 0. So, ano yung left side ng 0 kapag may abscess ka? Okay? Sa isang linear graph, di ba? Negative values. Okay? So, yan yung differences ng types of agonist. Okay? Now, let's proceed to another class of ligand. So, yun yung kapag meron siyang affinity, okay? Meron siyang affinity pero zero receptor activity talaga. Okay? So, wala siyang intrinsic activity. Okay? Again si antagonist, meron siyang isang feature, yung affinity. Capable siya mag-bind sa receptor. Pero zero yung intrinsic activity, walang receptor activity. Okay? Now, when it comes to the antagonism property ng mga ligands na to, yung antagonism property ng mga ligands na to, it may be in 3 ways. Okay? That is why we have 3 types of antagonism. Bali yung capability ng isang antagonist to counteract a specific activity ng isa pang substance ba or mismong receptor, depende yan sa mechanism ng antagonism niya. Okay, so meron tayong 3 types ng antagonism. It may be based on mechanism of action. Okay, so natay example ng mga drugs nga ang ilang way to antagonize a particular receptor or other drug is via their mechanism of action mismo. Okay, another we also have the type, yung mismong type of interaction, okay, between a antagonist and that of the receptor. Okay, so kung anong klaseng interaction nagaganap between that two, antagonist and a receptor. And ganun din, somehow related lang naman yung letter B tsaka letter C. Ganun din, a receptor towards the antagonist na relationship. Kung surmountable ba yung interaction between the two. Okay, between an antagonist and the receptor. Okay, so let us have first the first subtype ng antagonism based on mechanism of action. So again kung based sa mechanism of action, pwede yung antagonism is via functional, okay? Pwede din via receptor antagonism, or pwede din naman via chemical reaction lang yung antagonism. So una tayo sa functional. Okay, functional antagonism. Si functional antagonism, this is also known as physiologic. Okay, take note this is also known as physiologic antagonism. Meaning, meron kang isang drug, okay, example, di maklaro. Ibang kulay na lang. Okay, example, you have a drug A, ligand L for ligand Example, you have a ligand A, okay, isang drug. Yung drug na yan, si drug A, nagkakaroon siya ng reversal ng effect niya. Okay, nagkakaroon siya ng reversal ng effect niya because of another drug. Okay? Pero, hindi sila the same receptor, nagbabind. Okay? Itong drug na to, example, yung R dito is a receptor. Yung letter A, it will bind to a receptor X. Si letter B, hindi siya sa receptor X nagbabind. It binds particularly to another tissues, another receptor. Okay? Pero, upon binding to a different receptor, yung yung ending result, na-antagonize nila yung effect nila sa each other. Okay? Yung physiological property na-antagonize. Okay? Based on their functions itself. Okay? So, specific example ta para mas masabtan. Example, lugar. Si drug A, siya si, let's say, drug A, siya si epinephrine. Okay? You have an epinephrine drug. Si epinephrine kasi, 'di ba, sabi ko isa siyang natural substance sa body. Isa siyang although na yung mga synthetic na epinephrine, pero what I am talking here is epinephrine in general, mapa-natural or mapa-synthetic. Yung action kasi ni epinephrine, specifically, it binds to adrenergic receptors. Nakasulat naman pala yung example. Okay, so particularly has si epinephrine, in general, nagbabind siya sa mga what we call adrenergic, okay, receptors. Okay, ano yung example ng mga adrenergic receptors? Example, beta 2, yun, mga beta receptors, alpha receptors, yun, si epinephrine. Okay, again example sa beta adrenergic receptors where epinephrine can bind into beta 1, beta 2, and then we also have alpha 1. Okay? Bakit may greater than equivalent? Bali, nilagay ko lang kung ano yung ability ni epinephrine to bind to that particular receptor. Si epinephrine kasi equivalent yung property niya to bind beta 1 and beta 2. Okay? Lesser yung ability niya to bind alpha 1 receptor. So let's extract one particular receptor. Let's say for example si beta 2. Nakapag-bind si epinephrine sa beta 2 receptor. So isa siyang take note si epinephrine, okay, kapag nakapag-bind siya sa beta 2 receptor, kaya niyang stimulate yung beta 2 receptor. Isa siyang beta 2 agonist kumbaga ba. So, gina-stimulate niya si beta-2 receptor. Ano ngayon kung na-stimulate si beta-2 receptor? Yung action kasi, yung normal response kapag na-activate si beta-2, take note ha, si beta-2 kasi present yan sa smooth muscle, bronchial smooth muscles. Then, yung normal effect, kapag na-activate yung beta-2 sa bronchial smooth muscle, take note ha, normal yan. Ang beta-2 na present sa bronchial smooth muscle, kapag na-activate yan, that will normally results to bronchodilation. Okay, yan yung normal effect talaga kapag na-activate yung beta-2 receptor present sa bronchial smooth muscle, na dadilate yung bronchioles, okay, nga mga tissues, okay, or cells. Ngayon, we have a particular drug na pwedeng i-antagonize yan, yung action ni epinephrine, pero via functional. Okay, via functional antagonism. Meaning, sa ibang receptor siya nagbabind, pero nakaka-counteract pa rin niya yung activity nga bronchodilation ni epinephrine. So, yun yung sa example, we have histamine. Okay? Si histamine, sulat ko muna ha. Si histamine, ganun din, meron tayong natural, okay? Histamine, meaning endogenous ba, substance na re-release ng body natin. Meron din tayong synthetic na histamine. Pero in general, ano ba yung action ng histamine? Madami. Diba? Kay daghan man ta histamine receptor. Sige lang, ato man na siyang ma-lecture under sa otacoids. Under man sa otacoids histamine. So idea lang, si histamine, let's say for example, nakapag-bind siya sa histamine 1. Okay? Receptor. So meaning is, kapag nag-bind kasi siya sa histamine 1, okay, which is present. Also, meron tayong mga histamine 1 receptor ha sa extravascular smooth muscle. So example sa extravascular smooth muscle is again bronchioles. Okay, so meron din tayong mga histamine 1 receptor sa bronchioles. Okay, bronchioles. Kamu na lang mag-spelling. Di ko sure sa spelling. Okay? So again, naay beta-2 receptor sa smooth muscle ng bronchial, napoy H1 receptor sa, or histamine 1 receptor sa extravascular smooth muscle, example, yung bronchial smooth muscle. Now, ano ba yung normal activity kapag na-activate si histamine 1 receptor doon sa bronchial smooth muscle? Take note, kapag na-activate yan, iba naman yung effect niya. Instead na bronchodilation the same with epinephrine, iba naman yung characteristic ng histamine 1. So, bronchoconstriction naman. Constriction. So, take note ha. Histamine 1, okay? Kapag na-stimulate yan, histamine 1 particularly present sa bronchial smooth muscle, bronchoconstriction naman yung activity. So, if you will try to observe, kung titingnan mo, di ba magkaiba yung receptors nila, magkaibang drug, magkaibang receptor sila nag-bind, pero antagonistic yung effect nila. Bronchodilation yung isa bronchoconstriction. So yan yung ibig sabihin ng functional antagonism. Okay? Wala na tuyo ba? Wala tuyo nga gi-block good nila each other sa isang receptor. Nagkataon lang nga talagang functionally, based on their mechanism of action, based on MOA nila, okay, based on their function, particularly, physiologically, na-antagonize yung activities nila sa each other. Okay, so yan yung functional antagonism. Alright, now, let's have the second antagonism, subtype ng antagonism. Ganun pa rin, based on MOA. Okay, based on their mechanism of action. So we have, i-delete na ko ha. We have what we call receptor antagonism. Okay, so we have receptor antagonism. This is also known as pharmacologic. Okay, pharmacologic antagonism. Okay, so receptor antagonism, pharmacologic antagonism. So, clue na ninyo, receptor antagonism, meaning you have two interacting, you have two presence of two drugs, two ligands, okay, nagbabind sila sa the same receptor. So, most probably, ang nabilong diri is yung mga group of drugs nga merong classification na activator, meron ding classification na blockers or inhibitors. Okay, di ba? Say for example, meron tayong mga alpha receptor activators. Meron din tayong alpha blockers. Merong beta agonist, meron din tayong beta antagonist. So doon pasok sila dito sa receptor antagonism. Same receptor sila nagbabind. Okay? Then, na-antagonize nila each other yung activity nila. Okay? So, say for example ulit, you have epinephrine. Diba? Sabi ko kanina, si epinephrine, sige, ligand ulit. Okay, you have drug A, then drug B. Okay? But take note, yung receptor nila, the same. They bind on the same receptor. Okay? Pero yung isa, activator, ang isa, inhibitor. Okay? Now, ngayon, specific example, say for instance, ang activator natin dito is si epinephrine. Okay? Si epinephrine, nasabi ko kanino, di ba, meron din siyang equal affinity towards, just like beta-2, na siya equal affinity towards beta-1. Okay? Beta-1, a receptor. So, isa din siyang beta-1 agonist. Ngayon, si beta-1, one of the most common nga location ng beta-1 receptor is sa heart. Okay, example lang yan ha, pero naatay other pod nga mga site sa body nga naapoy beta-1. So example lang to, si beta-1 receptor, okay, present sa heart. Alright? Now, kapag si epinephrine nakapag-bind siya, dine sa beta-1 receptor present in the heart, yung normal response ng heart is increased heart rate. Ano ba yung ano yung medical term kapag increased heart rate? That is what we call tachycardia. Ay, wrong spelling. Tachycardia. Again ha, kapag increase heart rate, meaning tachycardia, ang medical term kumbaga ba. Okay, increase heart rate. Again ha, normal yan. Normal risk response kapag na-activate yung beta-1 receptor present in the heart. Tachycardia, increase heart rate. Ngayon, with the presence of beta-2, okay, so example, you have another drug, isang inhibitor, so obviously, example natin dito, sorry, para parehas lang yung color. Beta blockers. Okay, particularly non-selective ng mga beta blockers. Kung tag non-selective gani, dili siya tamili. Pwede siya mo bind sa beta-1, okay? Pwede po siya mo bind sa beta-2 receptor. Non-selective siya. So pag sinabing beta-2, beta blockers, okay, non-selective, meron siyang affinity sa beta-1, beta-2 blockers. O ngayon, ang iyahang ma-counteract, okay, if nakapag-bind siya sa beta-1, okay, as a beta blocker ha, kapag nakapag-bind siya sa beta-1, of course, yung opposite effect ng stimulation of heart, beta receptor sa heart. Okay, so obviously, ano yung opposite ng tachycardia? Decrease yung heart rate. So bradycardia naman. Ito yung medical term ha, medical term talaga yan for decrease or not decrease, slower siguro, slower ang best sabi na adjective no, slower ang heart rate. Okay, kung slower heart rate, bradycardia. Okay, so kung titingnan nyo, the same receptor, okay, then na-antagonize nila each other yung activity. Yung isa tachycardia, yung isa bradycardia. Okay, so antagonism based on mechanism of action gihapon, pero particularly a receptor antagonism. Okay, so that is the difference between functional receptor. Ito different receptor, same receptor. Saan sila nagkaparehas? Yung antagonism nila is based on MOA, yung mismong mechanism of action ng drug. Okay? Sige. Let's proceed to the chemical antagonism. Okay? So, obviously, chemical antagonism, nagkakaroon lang dito ng chemical interaction. Okay? Or this is also known as inactivation process. Okay? Inactivation, kumbaga, meron kang isang drug, okay? Pero yung purpose niyan is para ma-inactivate yung isa. Okay? So, most probably, yung pasok dito ng mga example is during toxicity, during poisoning, diba? Nagid tayo antidote ana, diba? Para ma-antagonize to sila. So, chemical antagonism yun. Kasi kailangan natin ng antidote para i-inactivate yun sila. Diba? So, say for example ng chemical reaction, yung mga na-mention ko last time sa ato ang discussion, katubitang katong heparin toxicity or iron poisoning. Na-discuss na ko siya di ay sa pre-recorded lecture manako to sa mechanism of drugs action. Under siya sa, ayan. Okay, under siya sa last katong non-protein targeting. Okay, na mga drugs. So example, you have, during heparin toxicity. Okay? 'Di ba, kung naaalala nyo, during heparin toxicity, ang pinaka most recommended nga antidote is ciprotamine. And ano yung chemical reaction that is being or that exists between upon interacting protamine and heparin, 'di ba? That is an example of neutralization reaction. Okay? So we have next siya, no? Ayan. Neutralization reaction. Okay? So reinforcement ra ni siya ha sa ako ang na-discuss previously. Okay, previous na discussions. Okay, so protamine plus a heparin, that is an example particularly of by neutralization chemical reaction. Kasi si protamine, you all know, by chemistry, by chemical reaction, no? A chemical structure. Okay, not chemical reaction. By the chemical structure ng protamine, meron siyang amine sa structure niya. Okay? So, ang amine kasi, sa chemistry, that will always act as a base. Okay? So, therefore, si heparin dito, siya naman yung acid. Okay? So, neutralization. Alright? Ayan. Next, another is during iron toxicity, okay, or iron poisoning. Okay, sobrang high yung level ng iron metal sa serum. Ang pinaka most common na antidote to form complex with that of the iron metal is we have the ferroxamine. Okay, kasi si deferoxamine, yung capability niya to produce its antagonism reaction is via chelation, di ba? Yung antidote process niya ba para ma-counteract yung iron poisoning is via chelation. Okay, susulat ko. So, chelation is also a chemical reaction. Diba? Particularly, ang nangyayari dito, si deferoxamine, it forms a complex form with that of the iron metal. Okay, para makapag-produce ng excretable form ng iron, non-absorbable form ng iron. Okay, so these are examples of direct chemical reaction. So, chemical antagonism yung nangyayari. Okay, again ha, sa chemical antagonism, gina-inactivate ng isang substance, yung isa, usually to manage toxicity or poisoning. Okay, so I hope you can now distinguish the difference between these three subtypes ng antagonism based on mechanism of actions. Okay, so we have again functional antagonism, different receptor. Okay, receptor antagonism, they bind on the same receptor. That is pharmacologic antagonism. Then we have chemical antagonism. So may direct chemical interaction lang. Okay, so that would be the first type of antagonism based on mechanism of action. Ngayon, let us proceed on the second type of antagonism based on type of interaction naman. Okay, so madali na lang tong letter B tsaka letter C na type of antagonism. Okay, so sa type of interaction, particularly interaction to ng mismong antagonist to that of the receptor. Okay, so kumusta yung antagonism nila? Reversible ba? Irreversible. That is for the type of interaction. Okay, so pag sinabing reversible, yung interaction na nangyayari between antagonist, okay, drug na antagonist to that of receptor, ibig sabihin temporary lang yung bonding na nangyayari sa kanila, di ba? Mo interact, mo bind bang yun si antagonist, di ba? Meron siyang affinity. Okay, meron siyang binding activity. Okay, capacity to that receptor. Pero temporary lang. Okay, temporary lang yung ability niya to bind. Okay? Bakit temporary lang? Bakit reversible? Ang nangyayari kasi, say for instance, you have that antagonist binding to a receptor, yung mismong, yung bond na nabuo between an antagonist to that a receptor, very weak yung bond na to. Okay? Very weak yung bond. Okay? Kumbaga, weak force of attraction yung nabuo upon interacting ni antagonist to that active site of the receptor. So, ano yung example ng weak bond sa pharmacology, drug to receptor interaction? Ang mean ani ng mga weak attraction, force of attraction are particularly the non-covalent bonds. Okay? Non-covalent bonding, non-covalent bonds. Sa example, ana. So, pasok dito yung example. We have yung van der Waals. Okay, van der Waals. And then we also have hydrogen bonding. Sa pharmacology ni siya ha, kay sa chemistry, di ba? Kung inyong i-recall ang chemistry, strong bond man si hydrogen bonding. Pero dito sa pharmacology, magkaiba sila ng theory, no? Ang weak attraction, considered doon si hydrogen bonding, van der Waals. Okay, so again ha, reversible interaction kapag ang antagonist, it somehow forms a non-covalent bond towards that of the receptor. Okay, so weak man yung bond na nabuo, temporary lang yung interaction niya towards the receptor. Okay, so yan yung reversible interaction. Pag sinabi namang irreversible, so opposite, okay, ng una, so permanent naman. Okay, permanent interaction. Okay, permanent kumbaga yung effect, okay, ng mismong antagonist na yan. Okay, as long as yung antagonist is being bounded to the receptor. Okay, bakit permanent yung nangyayari na interaction? Si antagonist, upon interacting to that receptor, it covalently, okay, bonded to that receptor. So, ibig sabihin, covalent bond naman dito yung nabuo. Strong bond ba? Okay? So, antagonist to that of a receptor, a strong bond naman yung nabuo. Covalent bond, sa pharmacology naman, okay, molecular level ng pharmacology, covalent bond is considered as a strong bond. Okay, covalent bond. So, si antagonist covalently bonded, okay, to that receptor. Pero again, hindi permanent yun nga hanggang forever na gyud no nga kuan. Syempre, di ba darating yung time nga ang drug ma-excrete man gyud na siya sa body. Ang ako lang pasabot dire is permanent gyud ang effect as long as kanang antagonist is being bounded to the receptor. Syempre, kapag humana ang iyang duration of action, di ba ma-excrete naman na, di ba, based on the ADME, after binding, after being absorbed, distributed, ma-metabolize man gud na siya ang drug, ma-excrete dayon. So once ma-excrete na siya, wala na gud kay effect ana. Okay, as long as lang bounded diri sa receptor ang antagonist, permanent yung effect. Okay? So yan yung difference ng reversible, irreversible. Okay, so dali lang man siya ma-distinguish kay based on their names lang naman. Reversible, ma-reverse gid ang reaction. Pwede na to ma-counteract ang iyang antagonism binding capacity. Okay? Irreversible, permanent. Now, this particular type of antagonism somehow related ra ni sila sa letter C. Okay, so let's find out. Under type of antagonism via surmountability of interaction, we have two types na atay competitive antagonism. Meron din tayong non-competitive antagonism. Okay? Pag sinabing competitive, ayan. Competitive antagonism, synonymous siya sa term na surmountable. Okay? Ibig sabihin, surmountable yung effect. No? Surmountable yung effect of antagonist. Kaya nating ma-overcome completely yung effect ng antagonist. How? By increasing the dose of agonist. Okay? So, surmountable siya, ma-overcome ang effect ng antagonist via increasing particularly the dose of the antagonist. Okay? So, yan yung ibig sabihin ng competitive antagonist. So, for example, you have a receptor. Receptor ni siya. Okay? You have the presence of antagonist, for instance. Okay? Binding, na siya ability to bind on that active site. Pwede natin yan, meron tayong mga antagonist nga, pwede nato ma-overcome iyang effect via presence of agonist in high concentrations. Okay? Tataasan lang yung dose ng agonist. Okay? Pwedeng counteract yung effect ng antagonist. So, yan yung ibig sabihin ng competitive, okay, antagonism. Pwede as in completely ma-overcome yung effect ng antagonist simply by increasing the dose of that agonist. Alright? So somehow related din siya sa reversible, 'di ba? Kaya kung imo nang ma-surmount ang ability, ma-surmount ang effect ng antagonist, ma-reverse, 'di ba? Ma-reverse yung interaction. Okay? Then kapag non-competitive antagonism naman, ayan, non-competitive, non-surmountable. Okay? Ibig sabihin, non-surmountable na yung effect ba ng antagonism. Dili na nato ma-overcome ang effect ng antagonist. Even increase pa nato ang dose of that agonist. Okay? Bakit? Ano ba yung nangyayari? Nganong kung non-competitive type nga antagonism, biskan unsaon nato pag-increase sa agonist na concentration, dili gihapon ma-counteract ang effect ni antagonist. It is because ang involved na ngayon na type of antagonist kapag non-competitive one, non-surmountable, is an example of allosteric type of antagonist. Okay? Again, yung involved na dito is isang allosteric type ng agonist. Ibig sabihin ng allosteric type of antagonist, yung antagonist na yan, instead nga mag-bind siya doon sa active site, ito yung active site. Okay? Yan yung active site. Instead nga mag-active site, doon siya nagbabind sa allosteric site. Okay? Allosteric site. Yung allosteric na allosteric site. Once ang antagonist na yan, doon siya nagbind sa allosteric site ng receptor. Okay? Ang mangyayari sa receptor na yan, it will cause a change on its stereochemical configuration. Okay? So mula sa original niyang form, okay, ma-change ang iyahang conformation. Kung ang antagonist na yan, doon siya nag-bind dito sa allosteric site ng receptor. Therefore, kahit ano pa yung increase mo sa agonist, kahit ano pang increase na gagawin mo sa agonist na concentration, talagang hindi na ma-overcome or masusurmount yung effect ng antagonist. Okay, kasi na-change na nga, 'di ba? Na-change na yung conformation. Remember, ang isang antagonist, somehow parehas lang yan ng form ng gusto niyang i-counteract nga agonist. Therefore, ito man yung form ng agonist, iba na yung naging formation ng active site, dili na gyud na siya maka-bind si agonist producing an effect. Okay, so that is non-competitive, non-surmountable. Okay. So those are the different types of antagonism. Again, so we have 3 types based on mechanism of action, based on the type of interaction, and based on surmountability of interaction, di ba? So you'll observe sa non-competitive antagonism, somehow related lang din siya sa irreversible interaction. No, dili na to ma-reverse back ba ang interaction ng antagonist na to that site ng receptor. Okay? So that ends our discussion for the drug interaction, drug to receptor interaction. All right? You have any question sa concept sa drug receptor interaction before we proceed to our last subtopic in pharmacodynamics. Pwede mo tingog ha. Pwede mo mag-comment. Tulog na mo?
Naminaw pa man, ma'am.
Mata pa, ma'am. Mata pa.
Very good. Si Asiron nag-comment. Okay lang mo mag-comment ha. Sige. Maayo kay mata pa. Okay. Wait sa. Na-close ako ang ayan. Sige, let's proceed to our ayan. The last, okay? Let us proceed to the last subtopic under pharmacodynamics principles. Okay, so the dose-response relationship. Okay. Let us first recall, no? Recall natin nga for the nth time good, for the nth time under pa ni siya ha, under pa ta sa pharmacodynamics, no? Principle. Under ni siya sa pharmacodynamics principle nga concepts. Recall nga sa pharmacodynamics, 'di ba? It is all about what the drug does to the body. So more focused study on the knowledge, okay, on the knowledge on drugs interacting to the body to produce an effect. Okay, drugs to the body to produce an effect. A drug interacting to the body to produce an effect. Now, with this idea, it is also very important for us, no, for you student to learn and understand what is really the relationship between a drug's effect, okay, with its dose or concentration. Okay, so dito nyo malalaman or let's say marirealize kung ano ba talaga yung relationship no ng drugs effect towards its concentration or dose. Kapag ba ang isang gamot with a certain dose potent na ba yan agad? Kailan natin masasabi na effective ang isang drug based on that given dose? Kailan natin masasabi nga potent ang isang drug? Okay? Naabay difference, basta effective, potent ang drug. So you will get to answer all of that in this lesson. Okay? Now, when we study all about a dose-response relationship, okay, yung relationship between these two, okay, yung relationship between these two variable, it is much easier no to understand in a form of graph. Okay, so upon my discussion sa dose-response relationship ng dalawang variable na to, more on graph ang ako ang ipang present. Okay, mas dali man siya masabtan kung naka-graph. Okay? And you all know already, di ba? Ay, sorry. You all know nga sa math man yata na, sa geometry, ang isang graph, naamag yun na siya duha ka axis. Okay, you have a y-axis on a kanang vertical one, then on a horizontal line, you have the x-axis. Okay. Now, in a hypothetical, okay, like majority good sa mga dose response curve, okay, relating the characteristic ng dose to that of the response or influence ni dose to the response, typically sa isang graph, it has the dose on its x-axis. Okay? So, andito yung dose sa x-axis. Again, hypothetically niya siya. Sa dose response graphs, typically, yung dose is on the x-axis and on the y-axis is the measured response. Okay? Or, ito yung measured effect. Parehas na ha, kung mayroon kayo effect, response, related na sila. Okay, we're talking there the effect of the drug, the response. Okay. Generally, upon plotting the logarithm of the concentration or the dose of that drug, this usually results to a sigmoidal plot. Okay? So, ana somehow yung sigmoidal plots, no? Or, naayata siya diri sa next slide. Ayan. Okay, so ano mo na siya ang sigmoidal plot. Usually, nga na gid ang result once i-plot na ang logarithm. Okay? Ang log dose ba? Ang dose of that or concentration of that drug in relation to its response. Say, for example, you have the dose here, then response. Ang usual gid nga plotting line nga mag-result is sigmoidal type of graph. So, yan yung Yan yung example ng sigmoidal type of graph. So, say for example, ito yung sigmoidal. So, more siya gana. Okay? But we also have other type of graph, which is the hyperbolic. So, that is shown dito kaning naa sa taas nga illustration. Ang hyperbolic represented in a dashed line. So, paana po siya. Somehow ana. Okay? So, yan yung difference ng graph na hyperbolic sigmoidal. Now, between these two, between a sigmoidal graph and a hyperbolic graph, ang pinaka-more convenient to use, especially during dose-response relationship, is yung sigmoidal one. Okay, kung mag-search mo og mga dose-response relationship graph, more on sigmoidal graph yung ginagamit. Okay? Bakit sigmoidal graph? This is for the reason na yung graph na ito, mas madali lang ma-identify ba yung mga main parameters, yung mga sub-variable nga involved in that dose-response curve. Okay? Naminaw pa mo ha? Of course, the parameters involved, okay? Yung parameters nga akong ginapasabot nga involved, will actually depend on the type of dose response curve. Okay, so ang dose response relationship gani nana siya duha ka klase nga curve. Okay, duha ka type nga dose response curve. We have the first one is the graded dose response relationship. Again ha, sa dose response relationship kay natay duha ka klase. Okay? We have the graded, we also have the quantile. Okay? And ang parameters involved in each, okay, differs. Kasi magkaiba yung dose response curve being studied. Okay? I repeat, there are two primary types of dose response curves, dose response relationship. Una is the graded. Okay, pangalawa is the quantile. Naaman mo yung notes, di ba, naadara sa last slide. Quantile. So let us begin first with the graded dose response. Okay. Now sa graded dose response, particularly ang nangyayari sa graded dose response, as the concentration of the drug, okay, pharmacologic effect, okay, or let's say response, okay, parehas na ha sa effect, ang nangyayari sa effect, it also gradually increases. Okay? So, yan yung nangyayari sa graded. Diba? Graded dose response, gradually, by proportion, nag-i-increase din yung effect, nag-i-increase din yung response to a drug upon increasing the dose, upon increasing the concentration of that drug. Okay, until yung maximum effect is being produced. Okay? So, kumbaga, kapag graded dose response relationship, it mainly describes good the drug effects, Okay? With yung drug effect with which increases in proportion, which increases gradually based on the increasing drug dose. Okay? Directly proportional sila kumbaga ba. Okay? Kapag nag-increase ka ng dose, gradually, nag-i-increase din yung response. Okay? Or effect ng drug. Okay? And take note, usually, itong graded dose response na to, this is observed in a single individual. Okay? So, mas ginagamit tong illustration na to, yung graded dose response, specifically upon studying a drug's response by a single individual. Dili ni siya by group of people. Okay? And again ha, ako yung always emphasis, pwede mo maglibog, basta graded dose response, directly proportional lang. Kapag nag-increase ka ng concentration ng drug na yan, gradually nag-i-increase yung drug effect. Okay? Okay. Sige. Now, before we apply the concept of graded dose response sa mga klase ng drug when it comes to its efficacy of the drug, when it comes to property of a drug, if it is agonist ba or antagonist. So bago natin i-apply yung graded dose response na concept, we have to understand first the parameters involved in this type of curve. Okay? Para makasabot mo sa mismong graph. So naatay mga parameters involved specifically to graded dose response relationship. So let's have the following parameters. Una, okay, we have, please take note, efficacy. Okay? Ito yung unang parameter involved in a graded dose response relationship. Okay? Efficacy, this is synonymous to the term ceiling effect. Okay? Ceiling effect. 'Di ba kung moingon kag ceiling, taas kanang imuhang unsa yun sa Bisaya ang ceiling? Kisame, something bubong unsa ba? Basta sa Tagalog kisame na siya, 'di ba? So kumbaga alkuba. 'Di ba? Wala may alkuba nga nasa ubos. Tanan man alkuba nasa taas. Therefore, kung imong i-describe ang efficacy, it is the maximum, no? This is the maximum achievable response to a drug. Take note ha, this is the maximum achievable response to a drug. Again, pag sinabing efficacy, we are defining here the response, okay, to a drug. The maximum achievable response, as in yung pinaka-peak na kayang i-effect ng isang drug na yan. Okay, yan yung efficacy, ceiling effect. Therefore, sa graph natin, please focus ngayon sa illustration on the right side. Sa graph natin, yung plotting ng efficacy is based on the y-axis. Kasi when you define, di ba, efficacy, maximum achievable, hindi na maklaro, sa sigig circle. Letter R, response. So, dirit ka sa letter Y, magtanaw. Imong biomarker ba para makita ang efficacy ng isang ng drug na yan. Okay, yung maximum achievable response. So, most probably, for this given nga sample nga sigmoidal plot, ang iyahang pinaka-peak is, saan ba ito? Ito ba yung pinaka-peak? Dili. Buta-buta manggod ko something. Ito ba? Ana. Okay, kung imo siyang butangag line ba, yung efficacy niya, dira. Ana. So, yan yung pinaka-peak. Ito yung peak niya nga ma-achieve. Okay? Okay? Peak niya nga ma-achieve nga effect or response. Okay? Siyempre, dili ka pwede maglinya diri sa ubos kay dose man ni. We are referring to efficacy. Ito yung maximum achievable response. So, doon ka buhat og line sa y-axis. Biomarker nimo is yung response. Okay? Next, another parameter. Another parameter we have the ceiling dose. Okay? So, kung nice ceiling effect, napod tay ceiling dose. Okay? This is usually represented using a symbol D sub C. By the way, yung efficacy, ang iyahang symbol is mura siya epsilon E. Yung ana. Okay? Ang ceiling dose, letter D sub C. Ito naman, this is described as the smallest dose. Diba? Dose. So, dun ka naman sa dose. Okay? Smallest dose that produces the maximum kay ceiling man. So, that produces the maximum response. Okay? Again, pag sinabing ceiling dose, okay, so you have a dose, pinaka-smallest dose niya, wherein at that particular dose, kaya niyang ma-achieve yung maximum response. Asan ulit yung maximum response niya? Ato namang nakita ang iyang peak. Kung saan na ito pagkabalo sa iyang ceiling dose? Pababa ka buhat og line. Okay? So most probably ito yung, for that particular drug, ito yung ceiling dose ng drug na yan nakuha. Ceiling dose, yan yung dose. So dito ka sa x-axis. Okay? Yung biomarker mo is sa x-axis. Okay? Kinuha natin yung pinaka-smallest dose niya wherein at that particular dose na-attain niya yung peak. Okay? Maximum nga achievable response. Okay? Kaya kung dili pa man na niya maximum, 'di ba? Achievable response. Samot na diri, layo ra kaayo sa iyahang ang maximum achievable response. Okay. So we're done with the efficacy and then ceiling dose. So, dalawa na yung parameters na na-describe. We also have another parameter, potency. Okay? So, we need to understand first the parameters para ma-understand nato ang iyang application sa graded dose response curve. Okay? Potency, this usually represented by a symbol P. So, potency, ito din, dose din to. Okay, pero this time, this is particularly the dose required, take note, siya yung dose nga kailangan to achieve 50%, of the maximum response. Okay? So magkaiba sila ng ceiling dose tsaka potency. Sige, balikan natin si potency ha. Okay? Sabi dito, siya yung dose. So, atong biomarker, derita sa x-axis. Pero, paano natin malalaman yung dose na yan? You have to find out 50% of the maximum response. Okay? 50% of that maximum response. Nakita naman nato iyahang maximum. 'Di ba? Maximum niyang response is ito. Ito yung maximum response. Nara man ang response. From 0, let's say 100 na siya. So, nara 100%, no? Iyahang response. 50% ana. So, let's have example. Dito yung 50. Okay, 50% ana iyahang maximum achievable response. Doon mo hanapin yung dose. Okay? For potency. Okay? Therefore, guhit ka ng line. Then, you can now determine the potency. Okay? The dose. Ang kailangan. So, ito yon. This would be the potency. I hope nakuha ha. Ang biomarker natin, biomarker nyo para makuha yung potency, yung dose na kailangan, is yung 50% of the maximal response. Kunin mo muna yung 50% sa efficacy, yung ceiling effect. Okay? Then, unsa ba tawag ana, slope ba na siya? Okay? You have to draw a line until you reach the smallest, no? Okay? Or the first, okay? Smallest dose, okay? Na kailangan, required para ma-achieve yung 50% ng maximum response. Okay? So, balik ta ha, si efficacy. Si efficacy, siya yung maximal, okay? Achievable response. Yun yung peak, no? Peak. Okay, so take note, response, yung efficacy. Ceiling dose and potency, these are doses. Okay, ceiling dose and potency doses. So the difference, si ceiling dose, ayoko lang ceiling, maximum. Okay, base siya sa maximum response. So smallest dose based on that, smallest dose that produces maximum response. Pag potency, 50% lang of the maximal response, yan yung dose na kailangan for potency. Okay, and you have to take note also nga sa potency, take note, sa potency, the lower the value, no? The lower the value of the dose, the value of the dose, the more potent the drug is. The more potent the drug is. Take note ni ninyo ha. Take note ni ninyo when it comes to potency. The lower the value of the dose, okay, ng isang drug, much more considered siya nga potent. Okay? So later on, you will appreciate this na taog tagtulo, tagupat nga mga drug, then i-identify nato kinsa ang mas potent aning upat based on the graph lang nila. And lastly, this is not so observed no kani siyang, pero I will still include. We have slope. Okay, another parameter, slope. Ang yung slope, it only describes the degree of change. Degree of change in response, in response with a change in a dose, with a change in a dose. Again ha, ang slope naman, it only describes the degree of change. Okay, gaano ka-drastic kapag nag-change tayo biglaan sa dose. Okay? So para mas maintindihan siya, okay, I will give you a sample comparison ng graph ha, para maintindihan lang yung slope. Although dili kayo nato ni siya ma-apply later on, para maintindihan lang. Okay? Let's say for example, you have, di ba pag sinabing slope, kay it somehow, it describes the steepness, di ba? Slope, somehow steepness sa mismong plot or sa mismong line produce sa graph, di ba mo ng slope? Okay, kung how steep, it only describes how steep or not is the plotted graph. Okay, so say for example, you have two graphs here. Yung unang graph, ito yung pagka-plot. Yung pangalawang graph, somehow hindi masyadong steep. So parang ganyan. Okay, so again, yung unang graph, very steep. So, yung second graph, not steep. Yung ano ha, ang akong gi-describe ani kay ang ang plotted nga line ba. Okay? Kung inyohang say for maghatag sa ko sample nga ko na example, this is 1 milligram sa iyang dose, dito naman is let's say 2 milligram. Dito 1 milligram, then 2 milligram of the dose of that drug. Okay, dito tayo sa steep. Okay? Ang graph na mayroong steep na slope. Kung mag-change ta, okay, kaunti lang nga change sa iyahang dose, kung nalay small adjustment of a dose, example from this 1 milligram, let's say ano ni? Mudugang ta og 1 more milligram. Okay? So kung yung titingnan mo yung response, sobrang drastic ng response being produced, 'di ba? Mula dito nga response, 'di ba? Mula dito nga response nga 1 milligram, kapag nag 2 milligrams, ang laki na ng gap bitaw, sobrang drastic na yung response na produce with that particular slope bitaw sa iyahang line, okay, in that graph. Okay? Pero kung sa non-steep, tingnan nyo, kung non-steep, kung mag-small adjustment, mag-change ka, those small adjustment from this response or dose of that drug, konti lang, 'di ba? Konti lang yung changes. Halos wala masyadong changes sa response. Ito yung response isa. Tani mo ni siya ang response ha. Diri mo ang inyong biomarker gid kung response ang inyong ginapangita is the left side. Okay? So ayan. Okay? So kung imo gyud siyang i-compare kung steep ang slope, small adjustment of that dose can cause drastic change, but with a non-steep no nga slope can really be okay, adjustable siya, can be adjusted yung dose ng drug. And remember na betay mga drugs nga gamay lang gani nga change na siya grabe nga adverse effect, delikado na siya mo na tong mga ginatawag nga narrow therapy drug nga kailangan yun monitoring nga nalang gamay nga change yung concentration sa atong body, pwede na magka other nga mga adverse effects, okay, ma-feel ang usa ka patient. So yan lang yung slope, okay, yung degree, yung extent ng change in response upon changing the dose. Okay, pero yung pinaka-applicable talaga sa proceeding as slides is yung first three, efficacy, particularly potency. Okay, efficacy and potency. Minsan lang din yung ceiling. So, sige, let's have an example application. Okay, sample application taha. Sige, recall sa nato. Pag efficacy ulit, efficacy, yan yung peak ha, maximum achievable response. So, hanapin nyo lang, gikan ani nga line, hanapin mo yung pinaka-peak. Okay, biomarker mo, response, hanapin mo yung pinaka-peak. Yan yung pinaka-maximal, okay, na level or extent ng drug effect. Okay, yan yung efficacy. Pag potency, 50%, kunin mo muna yung 50% ng efficacy. Okay, 50%. You find out the dose. Sige. So let's have the first application. I-apply nato itong mga concept. Say for example, you have 3 drugs. Okay? You have drug A, B, and C. Okay, say for example, all these drugs are for cough suppression. Example lang, for cough suppression. Okay? So, ang atong gusto is i-compare nato ang ilang efficacy, kinsay much more effective when it comes to suppressing that cough, and kinsa dayon ang much more potent aning tulo. Okay? So, i-apply nato tong concept earlier. Let us first find out the efficacy. So, atong tagsa-tagsaon. Okay? Efficacy. Okay? Of this 3. Okay? So let's start with the drug A. Okay? So si drug A, obvious man naa siya color blue, kanang color blue dira nga sa sigmoidal plot. Pangitaa ang iyang pinaka-peak. Okay? So obviously, asa man dapit. Pinaka-peak, pinakauna gyud nga peak. So kani man yata. Dili gyud necessary nga ko ano perfect, no? Kana man yata. Wait sa. Kani tagna no. Di ko kaklaro manggod. So kana man yata ang pinaka-peak. Basta pinaka maximum niya nga na-achieve ba nga response. So buhit ka. So mao na siya ang peak. Okay? Next, you have drug B. Ang iyang efficacy andito. Okay? So ana lang. So obviously inyo nag yung ma-compare kinsa ang unsa man na hiwi. Kadali lang. Sige. Ayan. Ana. Sige, okay na yan. Okay, so obviously, imong ma-compare kinsa much more effective, A or B. Pero klaro na kayo kinsa ang much more effective sa A o B. Let's have letter C. Iyahang peak. Ayan. So ito yung maximal response niya. So obviously, parehas lang kay A. Therefore, kapag tinanong kayo between drug A, B, C, sino yung least effective? Sige nga. I-type daw. Wala na ko'y student. Yes, very good. Least effective. Yes, very good, very good. Letter B. Madali lang, di ba? Kapag na-understand nyo na yung parameters, you can now easily interpret the graph. Okay, madali na lang i-interpret yung graph kapag na-understand yung parameters. Ngayon, sino yung drugs nga equal effect? Equal effect? Equal, very good. A and C, equal effect. Okay, so greater ang ilahang effect with that of drug B. So I hope you understand this ha. Kani nga pagka-write nako, si drug A and C, equal effect. When it comes to efficacy, equal effect, and mas greater talaga yung effect nila compared to drug B. In short, si drug sa naka-open ang mouse, sila yung much greater. Mura na ako ang kuan actually. Akong name. Basta nga value. Sige, okay na tayo sa efficacy. Na-compare na natin yung tatlo. Sige, proceed tayo sa potency naman. Okay, ano yung biomarker natin ulit sa potency? Yung efficacy. No, yung efficacy. So from that efficacy of drug A, kunin din yung gawin mo from the maximum efficacy ng drug B, kunin mo yung 50%, okay, tsaka ka mag-plot for its dose. Kasi yung potency, yan yung dose. Okay, ayan, the maximal response. Sige. I-plot muna natin ha. Okay. Si drug A muna. So 50%, siguro 50 at ito yung 50%. Okay? So i-plot nato dili gid as in grabe ka perfect, no? Basta lang ato lang makita ang interpretation ba. Okay? A. So ana para atong malabel. Let's have B, drug B. 50% of the maximal response of drug B. So kunin mo yung 50%, example, ito yung 50%. Kabalo man taon sa 50%, no, half. Gikan na yung maximal, yung ceiling effect. Kunin mo yung half. Di ganyan na half ako ang pagka-line. Pero as if lang ito yung half. Okay? So, guhit mo, padulong kay B. Then kuha iyang potency. So this would be the potency of drug B. What about drug C? Okay, parehas lang sila ng 50% ni drug A, di ba? So drug C, yung kulay green. Then go down, ito yung potency ng drug C. Ngayon, tell me, before ninyo i-tell ang note, take note sa potency, the lower the value of the dose, okay, the lower the value of the dose, the more potent the drug is. Ngayon, question, sino ang most potent among the three? Drug A, B, C. Very good. Okay, very good. Drug A is the most, black na lang, red na lang. Okay, so drug A is most potent than, sinong kasunod? Drug, very good. Drug B, then least potent yung drug C. Very good. Okay, so again based on this given nga graph for drug A, B, C, ang most potent for cough suppression, okay, is si drug A, which is siya din yung most effective. Tama? Diba? So si drug A, siya yung most effective. Okay? Hindi lang siya actually ang most effective. Okay? Also, si C kasi equivalent lang. Pero, sila dalawa yung most effective, pero isa lang yung most potent. Okay? Si drug A yung most potent. Ano yung nangyari sa potency ni drug C? Siya yung least potent. Therefore, you can realize here nga yung drug, okay, nga effective, okay, yung drug nga most effective, just like drug C, it doesn't mean nga potent din yung drug na yun. 'Di ba? So, dili gid ka pwede mag-conclude diretso nga basta effective na siya, mo pod na iyahang potent nga concentration, or the other way around, kapag ang drug is potent, that is also effective, most effective, hindi. So magkaiba. Okay? Ano pa yung inyuhang ma-realize here? Dito, although least effective, okay, least effective si drug B, di ba? Least siya. Sa tatlo, least effective siya. Pero tingnan mo yung potency ni drug B. More potent siya than drug C. Okay, so I hope you already know how to interpret, okay, which is more effective, which is more potent. Okay, do you have question with regards to application to efficacy and potency? Okay, wala. Sige, let's have last na lang kani. Efficacy and potency, gihapon ni siya ha. Ayan. So again, so dali na lang niya siya kay inyo naman siyang na-learn earlier sa last slide. So you have drug A, drug B, and C ulit. Okay? Sige, tell me nga, between the two, i-type lang ninyo, pas-pas. Between the three, kinsa ang least effective this time? Least effective. Okay, drug C, very good. Okay, drug C ang least effective. Sino yung equal? Equally effective. Equally effective. Equally effective. Delay ang ako ano. Feel ako delay ako ang ano. Oh, very good. A, B. Okay, A, B equally effective. Now, do you agree with me? Do you agree nga si drug B ang most potent?
No,
Do
ma'am.
you agree with me nga si good? Very good. Sino ngayon yung most potent? Most potent. Okay, very good. Drug A.
Hindi, ma'am.
Okay, drug A yung most potent. Least potent. Least potent. Okay, drug C. Okay? So, ana lang. So, naa naman dire ang other way to interpret. Diba? Drug A, very good. Drug A is more potent, okay, than drug B. Although, the same ang ilahang efficacy. Diba? The same ilang efficacy, pero much more potent si drug A. Si drug C, it shows the lowest, okay, least potency. At saka, siya din yung may lower efficacy. Okay, so ingana lang ha ang application sa efficacy and potency. Grabe no, pag ihapon nato na human. Okay? Sige. Since time naman,